nothing. So we finally get to these rocks, and the team dove behind the rocks, and Leghorn came up just as I was standing there. And so I said, "This is Lockjaw, we need air support, and we're in trouble." And then I started walking toward the rocks to get under cover myself, and I couldn't get contact. I left. So the only place I was getting them was right there. So I kind of stood there, and we finally got Leghorn was sending some air support. So then I got behind the rocks. But we were receiving fire the whole time. But we had not fired our weapons. We had not fired at anybody. We just didn't want them to know where I don't think they knew where we were exactly, because they were just shooting all over the place, and it was kind of random. And I was standing there, and there were bullets going around, but they weren't getting close. So
still, that's got to be an eye-opening experience.
Well, it's the first time I'd ever really been shot at. So, and the first time I'd heard that zzz of a round go by.
Intensify the pucker factor just a little bit?
You know, I want to say I was afraid, but I really wasn't. It was more like I was more concerned about screwing up than anything, because I had the radio, and which I think was not very smart for me to have the radio, but anyway, I had the radio. I finally got air support up. We had lots of air support. We had A1Es. They were dropping cluster bombs. They were dropping 250 pounders, we had spended all of the air assets, and it was getting late, and they couldn't pull us out. So we had to stay overnight. And we counted 52 secondary explosions during the night. So we must have hit a truck park or something like that. That was the idea. Or that's what we were told. Next day, they pulled us out on strings. I'd never come out on strings before, so that was an experience. And for some reason, Van Hall was mad at me. I don't remember why he was angry with me. I guess because I didn't know how to get in the strings right, and he had to help me. And so he was above me, and he was kind of like kicking me in the head as we were. So we got back, and he de-roasted, and then Don Davidson and I started running recon with Team Iowa, and then he went to Flak Hovey, and then I was 1-0 of Team Iowa, but I couldn't. I had a couple of 1-1s come in that they gave me, and they didn't work out for various reasons, and then so they transferred me to be Bob Barnes's 1-1 on Team California just before Joe Walker took it over.
And did you go to 1-0 school?
I did not. I didn't go to 1-0 school until I came back for my second tour from on Oki. I was TDY from Oki, the second tour on Snakebite 1, and they put us through partial 1-0 school at Oki, and then finished it off when we got to Long Time.
That's a little backwards.
It is a little backwards.
Did that happen frequently?
No, I think it was specifically for us, because we were that special project. But most of the guys that went back on the Snakebite already had been in SOG.
So what did you carry? I mean, did you, after running a few missions, did you alter, or from lessons learned, what did you carry as opposed to what other people carried?
Carried 3 canteens of water. I carried, when I first started, I carried 22 magazines, and then that dropped down to 10 later on.
Why? Why would you dump
that much ammo?
Yeah.
And I also started carrying an M79 with a sawed-off M79 grenade launcher. 22 magazines are pretty heavy, and the contact I had been in, either they got you out pretty quick or it wasn't. It wasn't going to happen. So I just didn't want the weight. You know, I just figured 10 was plenty.
Okay.
So, and then, like I said, I started carrying the M79 grenade launcher with a canteen cover with different types of rounds for that. High explosive, I had CS gas grenade, and I carried a canister round in it, which is like a shotgun shell for first contact.
Did you carry any white phosphorus or anything like that?
I did. I didn't like it, but I carried it. I didn't like it.
Well, I mean, that's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
That one goes off by accident.
Yeah, I remember I had to throw one once. I remember we were this was a CCS. We were in contact and we were throwing smokes, but the canopy was so thick it wasn't coming up through the canopy. So team leader Moose Monroe said, throw white phosphorus. And so I pulled it out, and I had a bad experience with a grenade before, so I pulled it out and I go, I don't want to throw it, Moose. I don't think I can throw it that far. And his arm was hurt. And he says, I got a bad wheel, man. You throw it. So I popped the pin and I threw it just as hard as I could, as far as I could, and none of it flew back on us. But I was afraid of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's hard to put out.
And it worked.
So how many missions did you run that first tour?
First tour. It's hard to remember because I don't remember. I tend to forget the dry holes. I know I had a couple of dry holes, but not many. But I think all in all, between Pontoon and Pt2, I think I ran about 13 or 14 missions all told.
And you were there for about a year or 14 months? Or?
From when I got out of Nha Trang, I think was in February or March of '68, and then I ran till November '68.
That's a lot.
And then I ran from March of '69 to September '69.
That's still a lot.
So my best missions seemed to be at Pt2 though. I had some good missions in Pt2.
Well, all right, let's talk about those.
All right. The best mission I ran was one with Moose Monroe and I on Team TAC. We
what's Team TAC? I'm sorry.
At FOB2, all the teams' names were states, and at Pt2, all the teams' names were tools like auger and axe and
hammer, nails,
and mine was tack.
I'm thinking TAC. No, we're talking. Okay.
No, tack, like a thumbtack, I assume. Some teams were getting shot out by going in by helicopter, so we decided we would walk across the border, and we started an A camp, and they sent out a platoon operation. We were the point element for the platoon, and then when we got close to the border, we split off and we went across the border, and they went on and ran their mission. And Didn't see much the first day. Second day we ran up on a road that no one knew existed. It was covered over and it was heavily trafficked. I laid on the road. We would take turns laying on the road, and I got there. I was on the road, and we started getting some heavy traffic, and I couldn't leave. I couldn't shift off because we were just too close. I mean, it was like right from here to the wall. Lots of troops on foot, heavily armed, crew-served machine guns. Then there were these deuce and a halves. We determined that they were East German, but I'm not quite sure that that's the case. But 32 of them full of rice and equipment and those kinds of things we counted in one day. And then we pulled back off the road the next day, and our team quit on us. They didn't want to go. Too many VC, and so we walked out a ways, and then we had informed Covey what was going on, and they pulled us out. So when they pulled us out on the chopper, they had a team on the chopper that got off. And so they continued our mission. They got shot out. And then they asked Moose and I if we'd go in with another team, do the same thing we did, walk in. So we did. We walked in again, and the first night we were there, we ran up on some security. He did a challenge, and we didn't say anything. We just withdrew. Stayed overnight. First thing the next morning, we heard a signal shot this way, signal shot this way, signal shot this way. And then Moose said, well, what do you think? I said, well, I think they probably got an ambush that way, but we know they're there and we don't know they're there, so let's go that way. So we started running right away. And then we could hear them behind us. So I had some grenades with 10 and 15 second time fuses on them. I was dropping them and pop them and drop them, and trying to catch them. A couple of them caught them because we could hear them hollering. We got air on station. We'd pop smoke, have them clean out between, pop two smokes, run, pop a smoke, run, pop another smoke, and have the guns clean out in between the smokes. And then finally they found us in LZ. This is about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This started 6 o'clock in the morning. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and they found us in LZ. We got to it. Then got a call from the Coveys, told us to run north. They're coming out of the woods like ants. We'll clean them off of you, but you got to get the fuck out of there. And so we ran north to another LZ where they had us come out, and they said they were going to drop strings. So we had rigged all the gear up for a string exfil, which is you take all the rucksacks and you hook them all together on one carabiner, and then the radio operator just snaps it. The radio operator has to carry the radio, so he just snaps all the rucksacks onto the bottom of his rig. So we got them all rigged up for a string exfil, and they drop a rope ladder. And so as soon as they dropped a rope ladder, nobody had any gear on but me. And so they all run up the rope ladder, and I'm on the ground. I've got this big pack of 5 rucksacks that I'm trying to hook on this bottom rung of the freaking rope ladder, and it's going up and down and up and down, and I'm losing strength like crazy. So finally, I got that thing hooked in. Climb up the rope ladder, climb up the rope ladder, climb up the rope ladder, and I could hear the helicopter pilot say, "Come on, let's get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here!" climbing up, and I got to the skid, and I looked up at the door gunner, and I said, "Help me, help me!" And he looked away, and so I thought, and somewhere I was just going to hook in. I was just going to hook in on the rope ladder at that point, and then finally somewhere I got some strength, and I climbed up in, and we were gone. And that was my best mission. That was a good mission.
What made it good?
Because we found it. Well, for me, making contact wasn't what I was really after. Gathering intel was what I was after, and if I could get up close and count trucks and count people and those kinds of things and get away and you not know that I was there, that was a real successful mission. And so we did that the first time. The first time we went in there, we got caught the second time, but that was a good mission.
Now, was that a normal practice to pop one smoke, run, and pop another one? You're the first one that's ever mentioned that to me, that was a tactic that you used, and then have the planes clear out in between them.
Yeah. I don't know where I learned it. I learned it from somebody, and the 10 and 15 second grenade fuses I learned somewhere. I learned that at FOB2.
Yeah. Was that the smoke and cleaning out between them, was that an effective strategy?
Yeah, it works, especially if they're close behind you. And they were close, because we could hear them shooting at the helicopters behind us. We hadn't fired yet, so we could hear them shooting at the helicopters behind us.
You guys had pretty good fire discipline then,
Yeah, we did. We didn't want them. For me, if you make contact, you got to lay down as much fire as possible. You got to make them, in my mind, make them think you're bigger than you are, and then you run away. But if I could get away with not firing anything, I was good with that. I didn't care. I just didn't want to give away our position. If we had fired, they would have known how close they were. So I didn't want to give them that info.
And was it unusual? You said when you climbed the ladder and the door gunner looked away. I mean, what is up with that?
To this day, I wonder. Well, it was with the it was with the Air Force chopper guys, and they had miniguns, and the only thing I can think of is that his job was to do that and not do that, not help me. If he had helped me, then he would be coming off of his gun. And my idea was, that's the only excuse I can give for it. It's the only reason I can make up in my mind that why he didn't stop and help me. Mm-hmm. That his job was to man his gun, and that's what he was going to do.
Man, I'm sorry, I have something
caught
in my throat. Tell me a little bit about. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. So you went in with another team. Did that happen often? That
No.
a team would quit on you?
It happened with some guys in Pontoon, but it had never happened with me before.
And is that just your little people just get fed up, or
they just didn't want to. It wasn't that they got fed up. It's just that there was. I assumed. First of all, I saw those guys as experts. They were expert jungle fighters. They were expert jungle people. And I think that their sense of the danger was probably a better sense than our sense was. Mm-hmm. And they didn't want to go back up near that road. They didn't want to do anything that was going to incite anybody. So I think that was it. And they're probably right.
Well, my follow-up question was, did it concern you when you went back up there with a different team? Was that sitting in the back of your head, my other guys did not want to do this, what am I doing?
Well, didn't concern me that much. And at that time, I kind of considered one team as good as another, to be honest. A lot of guys. I grew up in the segregated South, so I was full of racism at the time. So I didn't see them as, buddies. I saw them as mercenaries, and that I got close with the teams that I was on, but it wasn't. There was always a distance between them. Some guys fell in love with their Mountaineers. That wasn't me at the time. I think differently now, but so for me, 4 guys is 4 guys. Even though we hadn't run with them before, they were experienced.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get that, but I'm assuming, and maybe this is my assumption, that the 4 guys that didn't want to go back up there, you'd run with for a while.
They were the team that was assigned to us. When we got to Pt2 from Okinawa, someone had already hired that team.
Right.
And we didn't know them. We worked with them a little bit before we went on the first mission, and there were communication issues and those kinds of things. And they were new. They were new guys. They hadn't been running a whole lot of recon.
Okay. All right.
So that's probably why they.
Well, and that's probably why it didn't start any bells going off in your head.
Yeah.
If they had been more experienced, you might have been like,
Yeah.
Or not. I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, tell me about training, or the cycle of missions. And what I'm getting at is, I know that there was, you trained up for a mission, you went on the mission, and then didn't you stand down for a little while?
Mm-hmm.
What was that cycle like in Pt2?
In Pt2, it was a pretty quick turnaround. So you get a week at the most off, and then start gearing back up. At Kantun, it was different because we had the monsoon season to deal with, and so you'd gear up for a mission and it wouldn't go, and you'd gear up for this mission and it wouldn't go, or you'd gear up for a mission and it wouldn't go. So there was you had a lot of free time.